They called him weak, a pushover, a fool. When Michael took his wife, Clara, back after she cheated, the whispers followed them everywhere. Friends shook their heads, family voiced their disappointment. "How could you forgive something like that?" they'd ask, their voices laced with pity. Michael just offered a sad smile. "I love her," he'd say, and that was that. To the outside world, he was a man who had lost his spine, a husband who let himself be walked all over. But what they didn't see, what no one could possibly know, was that Michael's forgiveness wasn't an act of weakness. It was the first move in a game of chess no one else was even aware they were playing. Michael and Clara had what seemed like a storybook romance. They met in college, two bright-eyed kids with dreams as big as the city skyline. He was studying architecture. She was in marketing. He was quiet and observant. She was the life of every party. They were opposites, but they clicked. Their wedding was a beautiful, sun-drenched affair, full of laughter and promises of forever. They bought a charming little house in the suburbs, the kind with a picket fence and a garden out back. For 5 years, life was good. Michael's career took off, and his designs started winning awards. Clara climbed the corporate ladder at a prestigious marketing firm. They were the couple everyone envied. But cracks began to form, so subtle at first that Michael almost missed them. Clara started working late more often. Her phone became an extension of her hand, always angled away from him. There were hushed phone calls she'd take in the other room, and a new, expensive perfume she started wearing. Michael, ever the trusting husband, brushed it off as work stress. But the gnawing feeling in his gut wouldn't go away. One evening, a misplaced credit card bill told the story he didn't want to read. Hotel rooms, fancy dinners for two, gifts he never received. The other man's name was Daniel, a hotshot senior partner at her firm. The discovery felt like a physical blow, knocking the air from his lungs. The foundation of his world crumbled in a single moment. The confrontation was brutal. Tears, denials, and then a gut-wrenching confession. Clara swore it was a mistake, a meaningless fling that got out of hand. She begged for a second chance, promising it would never happen again. She painted a picture of loneliness, of feeling neglected as Michael poured everything into his work. Michael listened, his heart a gaping wound. Every instinct screamed at him to pack a bag, to call a lawyer, to end it. He looked at the woman he had loved for nearly a decade, her face streaked with tears, and saw a stranger. And yet beneath the anger and the betrayal, a different thought began to form. A cold, calculating thought. He remembered their shared assets, the house they built together, the life they had intertwined. Walking away felt like letting her win, like letting her and Daniel get away with destroying him. So, he did the unthinkable. He looked Clara in the eye and said, "I forgive you." The news of their reconciliation sent shockwaves through their social circle. Michael's best friend, Mark, cornered him at a bar. "Are you insane, Mike? She humiliated you. Have some self-respect." His own sister called, her voice tight with anger, telling him he was setting a terrible example. Michael absorbed it all with a placid expression. He let them call him weak. He let them think he was a doormat. Inside, however, a quiet resolve hardened into steel. His forgiveness was not a pardon. It was a strategy. He knew that to get what he was truly owed, he couldn't act on impulse. He had to be patient. He had to play the long game. Life at home shifted into a strange, new normal. On the surface, things were better than ever. Michael became the perfect, doting husband. He brought Clara coffee in bed, planned romantic weekend getaways, and listened intently as she talked about her day at work. He encouraged her to focus on her career, to take on that big new project with Daniel. "You're so talented, honey," he'd say. "You and Daniel make a great team. Don't let what happened between you make things awkward. Business is business." Clara, relieved and riddled with guilt, ate it up. She saw his support as proof of his unconditional love and forgiveness. She thought she had gotten away with it, that her perfect life was back on track. She had no idea she was a pawn in Michael's meticulously crafted plan. While playing the role of the devoted husband, Michael was quietly working in the shadows. His architectural firm had been a joint venture, an LLC they'd started together with shared funds. Clara's name was on everything, a testament to their former partnership. Michael started by painstakingly documenting every detail of her affair: texts, emails, and credit card statements he had photographed before the confrontation. Then, he began the slow, methodical process of untangling their finances. He consulted a discreet but ruthless divorce attorney, outlining his plan. The lawyer was initially taken aback. "It's bold," she admitted. "But if you can pull it off, it's genius." Michael used his support of Clara's career as a smokescreen. While she was busy working late with Daniel, sealing deals and celebrating their successes, Michael was sealing deals of his own. He systematically started transferring assets. He sold off shared stocks that were in his name, reinvesting the money into a new, private account. He used the profits from his recent award-winning project to set up a new, independent architectural firm under a different name. Legally, he ensured every penny he earned from that point forward was his, and his alone. He was building a new life raft while letting Clara think they were both still sailing on their luxury yacht. The house, their biggest asset, was in both their names. That would be the final piece of the puzzle. 6 months passed. To Clara and the rest of the world, Michael was the same forgiving, slightly pathetic husband. He even threw a surprise party for Clara when her team, led by her and Daniel, landed a massive, company-altering account. He toasted her success, smiling warmly as she basked in the applause. Daniel was there, smug and triumphant, occasionally catching Michael's eye with a look of pity. He thought he was looking at the loser. Michael just smiled back. He knew something Daniel didn't. That massive account they just landed? Michael had anonymously fed their competitor the key strategies, ensuring that Clara and Daniel's victory would be short-lived, and their failure, when it came, would be catastrophic. He was not just dismantling his marriage. He was dismantling the professional lives of the two people who had betrayed him. The day of reckoning arrived on a quiet Tuesday morning. It was their 6th wedding anniversary. Clara woke up to find Michael already dressed, holding a single envelope. He wasn't smiling. "Happy anniversary, Clara," he said, his voice devoid of any warmth. He handed her the envelope. Confused, she opened it. It wasn't a card or a ticket for a romantic trip. It was a divorce filing, and tucked behind it was a detailed summary of every asset he had secured for himself, along with a mountain of evidence of her affair with Daniel, including a sworn affidavit from a private investigator. Her face went pale. "What? What is this? I thought you forgave me," she stammered. Michael finally let the mask drop. "Forgiveness is one thing, Clara," he said, his voice as cold as ice. "Stupidity is another. I gave you 6 months. 6 months to prove you deserved that forgiveness. Instead, you kept lying, you kept seeing him, and you thought I was too weak to notice." The fallout was immediate and spectacular. The divorce proceedings were swift. With the irrefutable evidence of infidelity and Clara's name tied to a major business failure that was about to break, thanks to Michael's anonymous tip, she had no leverage. The court awarded Michael the lion's share of their assets. He had cleverly and legally ring-fenced everything he had built in the last 6 months. She was left with a fraction of their former wealth and a career in tatters. The firm fired both her and Daniel when their affair, coupled with the disastrous loss of the new account, became a company-wide scandal. Clara was forced to sell her share of the house to Michael for a fraction of its market value just to cover her legal fees. The same friends and family who had called Michael weak now looked at him with a mixture of awe and fear. They finally understood. His forgiveness hadn't been a sign of weakness. It was a weapon. It was the rope he gave Clara to hang herself with. He had played the part of the fool to orchestrate the most devastatingly precise justice imaginable. He didn't yell or break things. He didn't seek petty revenge. He simply took back his life, his finances, and his dignity, piece by piece, while she was looking the other way. He got his justice not by being loud, but by being smart. He proved that sometimes the most powerful move is the one no one sees coming. And as he stood alone in the house they once shared, now solely his, Michael felt not triumph, but a quiet, solemn peace. He had lost his marriage, but he had reclaimed himself. Thank you so much for watching. What do you think of Michael's plan? Was it justified genius or a step too far? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. We'll see you in the next video.